Just a sec. Okay. Anybody have a spiritual thought?
I think Andrew's enacting our spiritual thought today.
Okay, that's good. Serve others.
Serve others.
Okay, discuss as a group, what grade would you give Morgan for how he pursued Skyhook and why?
How about a B? He did what he set out to do, keeping the costs low. But the sell side was weak.
Yeah, I think on the sales side, so much time and energy was used in developing the product and the mapping of roads and trying to figure all that stuff out. But there wasn't, maybe the sales side was certainly lacking, I think. But I think it was just because of the time and energy and effort he made to innovate and to create the product itself.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Andrew, I'll assume you concur.
Yes, I do. Sorry.
That's okay. Skyhook developed a pretty cool technology that has gotten positive feedback. Put yourself in the shoes of Ted Morgan. Why the lack of sales? I think we just kind of talked about it. I think the focus was really in developing the product. Once it was finally developed, there wasn't enough effort to sell it. I think it was also sort of difficult maybe for him as he tried to figure out, you had Apple, there was Microsoft, there was trying to figure out what channel to use this great technology that they had developed,
That's what I think. I think it was such a new product that, it says, as he did demonstrations, he always got great feedback. Everyone thought it was so good. But I think it's tough when you're starting a new market like that and trying to show people that they need it. People agreed that it was cool and good service and that they think it's useful, but I don't think he did a great job at the urgency of it, that people needed it right now because that's the way technology was going and that's what's going to change it and that's what's going to put them ahead type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he had a great product, and like you guys said, he put a lot of effort in developing and not so much in sales. But I think also why his sales are down is just because it was so new and that a lot of companies were just unsure of everything that was going on. I think everything was just kind of growing so rapidly that I could see how that would be kind of tough to sell a product in that market.
Yeah.
And it's so expensive too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Okay. Skyhook development is pretty cool technology that has gotten lots of attention or lots of positive feedback. Okay, so we already talked about that. Sorry. Review the deals below and describe the proposed deal, outcome, and lessons learned. Proposal, outcome, and lessons learned. Microsoft.
I'm looking.
Microsoft's deal, they ended up settling for a one-time, they had unlimited use of their application. It was $100,000 and there wouldn't be any licensing or anything.
No.
For a one-time payment of $100,000, Microsoft could use Skyhook's data and application with no additional fees. Ted knew the deal had fallen through. So that's kind of checks off all of those boxes. The proposal we didn't really talk about. The proposal was
$300,000 and an additional fee every time the copy of Streets and Trips was shipped with Skyhook's technology.
Right. So I think the lesson learned there was to, I mean, it was just kind of a, I don't know what lesson you take away from swing and a miss. I mean, it was, and I guess they had a hit. It just wasn't like what they had hoped.
Yeah, I think they needed to look more at how they were going to price it. I think that would be a big lesson learned out of this one.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so E911. E911, they got that thing started, and then it never really took off. It was kind of pushed to the back burner. So that was one of those things where great. I mean, it was, I guess, a reasonable idea, but it just never really seemed to take off. Did it not? I don't remember. Did it not get clearance or something? Why didn't it take off? I can't remember.
It got pushed to the back burner.
Oh, yeah. The FCC never issued an E911 mandate. So they were looking for a mandate from the FCC, and it never happened.
Yeah, I think that goes back to what you was saying about the urgency, because that mandate was going to make it that they had to have it right now.
Right.
And so the urgency wasn't there anymore.
Right. And then Nokia.
I think that one was the biggest lesson learned, because there were so many departments, and I have a feeling that all these companies are kind of set up that way. And because of all the departments, they didn't know who was going to pay for it and what budget it was going to come out of.
Yeah. I mean, they had 60 days with Nokia. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next question. Who benefits from the technology? What problems does it solve? Who benefits from the technology is that they explain a lot of the benefits, I think, really well. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the user, whoever has the mobile device,
right?
The most.
And advertisers do. Advertisers and applications, you know, if they know where you're at, they can target you with specific locations, restaurants, weather, you know, anything that is appropriate for you, because they know exactly where you are.
So, like I said, I was in this whole week, and we were eating at a restaurant, and the Bellagio fountains were going off. I don't know if you guys know what those are. I was looking at it, and I was like, I wonder who owns the Bellagio. So I started typing in my Google widget that just lets you type things in, and I said, who owns? And it gave me the Bellagio and all the other hotels that I was around, and it knew that just because it was just using its educated guess and smarts in my location on what I'm probably going to ask it, which I thought was pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's interesting. They know where you're at, so they know what to do. I was walking to a restaurant. I walked past another place, and it asked me, "Oh, did you go did you go eat at such and such?" And I was like, "No, and I knew I walked past it, but they wanted a restaurant review, and I was just like, they know where you're at, so they want to market to you and ping you about specific things, you know, that are near in and around you.
So I think I agree with you, Jason. I wouldn't have thought about that, who benefits from that thing, but yeah, businesses definitely.
Right. What problem does it solve? I mean, I think it, and who has this problem?
It listed a bunch of problems it solved because of the way GPS locates things.
Right.
You couldn't locate yourself inside a building and in cities and things. And the Wi-Fi's, you can locate yourself closer to where you actually are.
It works indoors. GPS doesn't.
Yeah.
It works
So I think
downtown. GPS doesn't.
Helps the customer or whoever has it.
Right. Yeah, and I think to businesses, business decision makers and companies feel the pain that the solution solves. You know, I don't know if it's a pain. It's just more of it's a convenience that they now can take advantage of that maybe wasn't available to them, where, you know, you're catered to with specificity because they know exactly where, you know, where you are, so forth. Okay. Vote which strategy option do you favor? Local ads, sell the company, or preserve?
I said sell the company.
You guys are breaking that
you know,
record, sell the company.
Yeah.
Initially, I'd have said local ads because I think there's a huge market for that. But the problem is when you're having to compete with like Google and some of these big power players, they could squash you, and then all of a sudden your company becomes worthless because they do what you do, only they do it better. So
Especially
I think when
now
you create a product,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, now that he's got an audience with Apple,
Right.
I'd say, you know, either get in that deal or he's going to have problems because Apple will come up with something to.
Yeah. You know, Apple will or Google will, and someone that's a bigger player is going to come up with a technology to do the same thing you did, but do it better. And then all of a sudden your product becomes
obsolete,
antiquated, or worthless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Convince everyone in your group that you have the right plan for each of the options above. Discuss how likely Skyhook will be to succeed given the following circumstance. Current team skills, resources, and business model. Okay, so current team skills. I think current team skills, I think they've got really bright engineers and people who understand to create technology. I don't think they're very sales savvy, so I don't think that they have the current team to do some of what they need to.
Yeah, I think they need a stronger sales team or marketing team to run those numbers. But I think other than that, they've done really well.
Right. The resources, I would say resources would really lean towards selling the company. I mean, I know they've had a couple of infusions of capital because of some of the series and the rounds of investors, but they were just burning through cash, and they didn't have a really profitable revenue model that they created yet. I mean, they had this great technology, they just didn't have a revenue model that was going to be sustainable yet. So I think their resources and such in the technology would lean towards selling the company.
Yeah, I know he was trying to keep it real lean. He didn't want to use all their cash.
And they say towards the end there, they had like hundreds of drivers that they were paying. I mean, the amount of money after 18 months, 50 to 250 drivers on the road on any given day, and I think they were paying the drivers earlier. They said like $15 an hour.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money to go through and map the entire U.S. They wanted to go into Europe and elsewhere too. The business model, I think the business model was, they seemed like their business model was more in the creating the technology and finding a partner to sell it to. I mean, that's what I think their business model really
They're gonna hear me
specializes.
what?
Did you already do these up?
Not the trash now. I was just cleaning.
Oh, cleaning up, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, do you have anything you'd add to that, either of you?
No, I think I agree.
Okay. As a group, prepare an agenda for your call with Steve Jobs. What is your BANTA? Or BATNA, sorry.
Getting back there. So I think I would not remember what my BATNA is, first of all. Hold on.
Google it right now.
But I would structure the how much
Best
I am
alternative to
expecting.
negotiated agreement.
Thank you. I think I'd structure the money I'm expecting differently, because really the end customer is going to be the person that buys the phone or the advertisers, like you guys were saying. And so instead of expecting Apple to pay for everything, we need to come up with a different strategy for who's actually paying for the technology. I'm not sure how to do that, but I think that's what we've done.
Well, I think like that's why the IT sector is so big and so profitable, is because people are willing to pay for that information. It's their company, and so I think like they just have a subscription or whatever if they want the information of where people are at or what they're doing, then they just pay whoever owns the rights to the technology type of thing. And so it's just, I guess, yeah, maybe a subscription isn't the best way, but I agree that they should be the ones paying for it, not just the cell phone carrier or whoever buys it from Skyhook.
Yeah, or
I think also the when you look at his going into Steve Jobs at Apple, I think if he's already visited and struck a deal with Microsoft. If you have, if you've worked with other cell phone creators, or in this case Microsoft, you find leverage because you've worked with the competition. You have to create some incentive on Steve Jobs' part that you won't go down the road and partner with another provider, and then all of a sudden he's left out in the cold.
yeah.
Okay. What are Jobs' interests? I think his interest is in the iPhone was brand new. He wanted the best product to be installed inside of the iPhone. So his interest is to create the best iPhone, and he wants to see if this is a good fit for the iPhone, is what it sounds like.
I really liked his quote that said, you incorporate anything that's like new and good in the world that's being created and tie it into your product. Like just not necessarily on this question, but I just thought that was really good. It kind of goes off what you're saying, kind of his mentality. Okay, this is a groundbreaking technology. How am I going to incorporate it? And so I think he does a really good job in just learning about it and wanting to be the best.
Okay, why did he call you? I think this goes back to the prior. I think his objective, Jobs' objective, is to have the best product available in his iPhone. So part of the best product could be what it is that you've created and have to offer. And he wants to explore that. I think that's, an important feature.
I also find it kind of fascinating that he's the one that actually called Ted, not like one of the senior developers wanting it, but Steve Jobs himself. I think that kind of speaks volumes of what kind of guy Steve was, because like in the case study, it said how he was kind of a bold guy and really pushed what he wanted and his terms type of thing. And I think that goes to show like he means business. Like it's something he wants, and so he's going to call and set up the appointments and things like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. And who should pay? Will you pay Apple to get onto their device, or will Apple pay you? How much will you propose? I think Apple should pay him. I mean, if it's a user-based thing where people who own Apple products can choose to use that, then they would pay you. But I think Apple should actually do, it should go the other way around. Apple should pay him for the ability for users to have that functionality on their phone.
I think this is one reason he should focus on selling the company, because then there's not the question of who's paying who. Sell the technology to Apple and let them figure out how to sell the product to the end user.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Because yeah, the other way around, it gets kind of messy.
Okay. Let's see. How big is this opportunity for Skyhook? I mean, it seems pretty big. The amount of undertaking it took to create the product and the, you know, to map out everything seemed like it's on a pretty grand scale.
Yeah, I agree.
Let me see. No, the discussion board included this mandate to facilitate communication. Okay, yeah, we got all that. Okay. That concludes today's lesson. Thank you for your participation. So
Braden.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, Braden just
No,
texted
Braden,
and said he apologizes. He forgot to tell us he couldn't meet today, but he will still do his problems and put everything together for us tonight.
Okay. So who's doing what today? I think I have 7, 8, 9.
I
I'm
have
back at
3
1,
and
2.
yeah.
Okay, so Brandon does 5, 6.
Yeah.
And you know, this is interesting because I don't know of any exhibits that you would create at this point.
I think
show your exhibits. What's that?
Kind of just do an evaluation of the company.
Okay.
They gave you enough numbers that you can kind of remember that one week that we did Series A and Series B, and
Are we throwing anything away?
how much they had earned, something like that.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Braden 5 and 6. I'll do 7, 8, 9,
Yeah.
and we'll go from there.
Why?
Because I've been
I
asking
agree.
a lot of people if they know, but a lot of people don't.
All right, Andrew,
Cool,
have
thanks,
fun
guys.
with the church there. Okay.
Sounds good.
See you guys in a couple days.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Oh, just a second. I was reading, he posted next week's little message, and we're supposed to split up into 2 teams for this week. And each team reads a section of the case for this first one.
I'll do isn't there like a Kruger one or something like that?
I'm switching back to it real quick. Is it? All right, yeah, it's 2 of us are supposed to read Green Mountain, and the other 2 are supposed to read Keurig.
Keurig, that's right. I'll do the Keurig one.
Jason, which one do you want?
So I'll do Green Mountain.
Green Mountain, okay. I don't really care. I'll do Keurig, and we'll tell Brandon Green Mountain.
Cool. Sounds good.
Okay, sounds good. Can you email us
Thanks.
what we talked about?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
So yeah.
See ya.